These weekends or by far the best weekends we live throughout an entire year. I'm convinced after these performances, after this hype, after these games, these weekends taste like summer holidays. They just feel like they're longer and it feels like they're way better, you know. I'm so buzzing. I'm still so buzzing from Thursday, but we have to move on. We beat Milan and now we have to move on because, you know, you look at the calendar, as always, you glance at that calendar and we're very, very far from the finish line. We've still got a long way to go until crossing that finish line of the end of the season, and the complexity of the games is only going to increase moving on. So Bologna on Monday, I call it another fundamental game. I don't want to sound repetitive because I know I always repeat the same things about these games, but it's really the game where we can make a massive step towards our UCL sprint and our UCL qualification, because it's against the team that for the majority of this season has been ahead of us, and winning on Monday means narrowing that gap and then having to replay those 20 minutes against Udinese 3 days after, and maybe if you win those 20 minutes, you can also go ahead of Bologna. And it's also that stage of the season where you need to try and, you know, detach yourself from the other lot, which are chasing you. So Napoli is currently losing at Empoli. I know Lazio did win. It's about taking our chances. You know, it's about using the utensils that we have and the tools we have to beat Bologna on Monday as well, because look, at the end of the day we can do it. It's not hard. It's going to be a complicated game and we're going to get into this today, but I think if there's something that we have seen over these past months is that we can beat all, apart from maybe Inter, the Italian teams. So I don't want to hear excuses, I'm tired, European fatigue and all of that, because on Monday we need the starting lineup. On Monday, we need the best team to put on that pitch, because Bologna this season, they've won a lot, if not every big game. You know, they never lost a big game this season. They won in Rome against Lazio. They won in Bergamo against Atalanta. They drew in Milan against Inter and drew in Milan against Milan. They drew at home against Napoli. They drew away at Torino. They won against us in the first leg. So they know, and they've it's that miracle season for them. So everything is going on their right path. We need to stop them, just like we stopped Milan in these past weeks, just like we stopped Lazio in our last derby. We need to stop Bologna as well. But yeah, how's everybody doing? I'm going to set a like target because I think everybody's so hyped. I'm going to use everybody's hypeness to get some likes. That's effectively what I'm trying to do. 100 likes. How does that feel? 100 likes would be absolutely amazing. So please do hit the like. As always, it takes 2 seconds. It's free of cost. It's free and it supports the channel and the community a lot. So please do it if you haven't already. Now, I do want to start off this match preview by reading out loud the schedule of games we have and then criticizing, just like the Fredkins and Lina Saluku criticized yesterday evening, the Serie A organization and the Serie A institutions. So let me quickly read you the calendar that we're going to have. Bologna, Monday the 22nd. Udinese, the last 20 minutes of the Udinese game, Thursday the 25th of April. Napoli away, Sunday the 28th of April. Leverkusen at home, the 2nd of May. Juventus at home, the 5th of May. Leverkusen away, the 9th of May. Atalanta away, the 12th of May. Genoa at home, the 19th of May. And Empoli away in the last game week of the season, the 26th of May. Now you look at that calendar, and just like Roma did, which is surprising by the way, because they never did this. They never did this under Mourinho. And in fact, you know, I said this in the fan forum yesterday. If you're Mourinho looking at this situation, you chop your head off. Because if you're Mourinho seeing the situation at Roma right now, you're pissed. Because out of nowhere, for the first time in literally what, 4 years, the Fredkins have personally and publicly attacked the Serie A institutions with an official statement yesterday evening saying because basically Roma asked the Serie A organization the Fredkins asked if they could reschedule the Udinese game in May when the semi-finals of the Europa League are out of the way. So if we go through, we go through. If we're out, we're out. And possibly they also asked the Serie A organization if they could schedule the game the same date as they were going to reschedule the Atalanta-Fiorentina game, which was also suspended a month ago. The Serie A completely ignored it. The Serie A completely ignored this demand. And now, my dear friends, we need to prepare a European semi-final against probably the best team in Europe right now, playing 3 games every 2 days in the game prior, in the week prior. Because we've got Bologna on Monday, Udinese on Thursday, and Napoli on Sunday. Now, a lot of people might go, well, you can't complain because the Udinese is a 20-minute game. Oh, no, I'm complaining because to reach Udinese, it means that we've basically bottled and we can't train as a group in Trigoria for at least 2 days. Because Udinese isn't close. Udinese is probably the furthest team in Italy playing in the first division of the Italian team. So playing those 20 minutes next week, in terms of energy and fitness, oh, okay, it's 20 minutes, I get your point. But you gotta go there, you gotta come back, and frankly speaking, we could have used that time to train in Rome, train and prepare, not only for the Napoli game on Sunday, but also for a massive game against Leverkusen. But once again, the Serie A institutions are basically publicly attacking us. The Serie A institutions are not protecting the interests of Roma, and they're doing whatever they want. Look at the French League. The French League and the French institutions suspended PSG and Olympique Marseille's games for the next week because they're both playing in European semi-finals. And we are represented by an organization which supports Bayer Leverkusen instead of Roma. That's what they do. That's what they basically are saying. Screw Roma, fuck you, up the Leverkusen. That's effectively what you're doing, because otherwise, if you're protecting the Italian teams and our interests, you would have rescheduled that Udinese game in May. You didn't do that because you said, oh, we can't falsify the league. Udinese are in a relegation battle. Roma are in a Champions League battle. We can't postpone it to May because if Udinese is mathematically safe, then the other teams are gonna protest. Fuck off. Like, piss off. Genuinely piss off. It's appalling. It's terrible. It's absolutely atrocious how it's basically a war against everything and everyone for Roma. And the Fredkins publicly denouncing this is big because they never did this, because they were always quiet. And this is effectively what Mourinho asked for the past 2 years, and what he never got. Anyways, sticking on the Bologna game, I wanted to say this because it is going to influence on our calendar. Let me speak about Bologna. I mean, I think we spoke a lot about Bologna, even in random live streams, because Bologna this season, it's their season. It's their miracle season. It's the season which somebody up there in the skies wants Bologna to be playing in the Champions League. From a Roma fan point of view, I don't like that, because Bologna in the Champions League, to me, is a waste of time and a waste of oxygen and a waste of space. But that is me speaking from a Roma eyes and a Roma vision. From a football passionate point of view, Bologna in the Champions League is the last glimpses of light of an era of football where money dominates over passion. So what Bologna is doing is remarkable. What Bologna is doing is something to applaud and something to clap. And I think they deserve all the respect because Thiago Motta not only has built a winning mentality team, but he's grabbed the points against big teams this season. He's given value to players which 6 months ago were literally unknown players. A lot of credit needs to go to Sartori, their director of football, with the eye of an owl in the transfer window, buying the likes of Calafiori for 2 million, Zirkzee loaning him out from Bayern Munich, and then buying the likes of Ferguson. It makes you proud. It makes you proud that a team like Bologna is flourishing in your own league, in the Italian league. And I look at the players that they have, and these players this season are playing so well together that I wouldn't even be surprised if they win at the Olimpico on Monday, because they've done this before this season. They know how to do it. And just like Leverkusen, just like them this season, you had Girona in the league, in La Liga a few months ago. Now they've collapsed a bit, but it's those miracle seasons which happen once in a while where everybody knows what they're doing, everybody plays so well together, the chemistry and the attitude of the team is at its max. And it makes you proud. It makes you really, really proud. I've got nothing against Bologna. Really, it's an honor seeing what they're doing, and it's also entertaining to kind of, destroy the pattern of repetitiveness in the league and stop the supremacy of northern teams. However, there is no part of me which believes that we can't easily win on Monday. I think at home we're a different gravy. I think at home we can beat whoever. And Bologna is coming from a span of games where they aren't winning much and they also aren't scoring much, because the last 2 games against Monza and Frosinone both ended 0-0. And also, in these past few days, Bologna have had a serious injury because Lewis Ferguson, one of their incredible players, has torn his ACL. One of the warriors which brought Bologna in this miracle season is Lewis Ferguson, and he won't be available for this game because he tore his ACL. But the threats that I see in this Bologna team are Joshua El Football Zirkzee. I'm in love with that football player, and it's going to be a pleasure to watch him at the stadium on Monday. I love him. I've already did a dedicated live stream on how much he just changes the game being a pivotal striker, and I think that's exactly what we need. Even though I'm exceptionally happy with Lukaku, you know me, I've got nothing against Lukaku. I really want to keep Lukaku, but a player like Zirkzee is just comes handy to every possible football team out there. And yeah, look, Zirkzee is not the only one. They've got Orsolini, who this season has been renamed Orsonaldo because of how good he's playing. Calafiori, a gem, a defensive gem. Fabian, their young midfield. They've built this team around young players who know how to play football and want to play real football. And this is why I think it's not going to be an easy game. What is going to make this game complicated for us is Bologna, who are a great football team, number one. Number two, fatigue, because we played 1 hour of a Europa League quarterfinal against Milan in 10. So it means that 10 against 11, you need to fight 2 times more. You got to double your energies, you got to double your fighting spirit, you got to double your mentality. And so the players will be exhausted. But again, I've said this already, the more we advance in Europa League, which it's what we all want, the more we expect the more we need to suffer in the league. And I just think, however, that this enthusiasm that we've built in these past days, coming from that quarterfinal and this approach into the semi-final, but also coming from De Rossi's fresh new contract, I think this is going to give such a confident boost and an enthusiastic boost that I see Roma winning on Monday. It's that stage of the season where I just can't predict against Roma because they're playing so well and they're surprising me day in, day out. And I said this in yesterday's live stream, but this week is a week that can literally mean Champions League football. You know, if we have a successful week, Bologna, Udinese, and Napoli, and when I mean successful, if we get 7 to 9 points out of these 3 games, I think we have one leg in next season's Champions League. I really do think. So yeah, this is a week that, yes, we'll be distracted by that Bayer Leverkusen, and it's very tempting for these players to think about the Leverkusen game right now, but it's wrong to do that. This week is massive. This game is massive. So we really do need to give it our all best, because if this week goes well, we will have one leg in the Champions League, and that is our primary objective this season. Predicted 11 is going to be this, in my opinion. Yeah, as always, I'm going to give you 1 minute to look at that and get some questions, and I'm going to read some comments. Is Azmoun fit yet, or is Tammy going to start? I put Azmoun in this one, and I'll tell you why in 2 minutes. 12k is near, let's get it. Thank you, mate. Yes, we're not far from 12,000 subs, so if you're new here, do subscribe to the channel. Lukaku is indeed out for this game, but we're going to get into that. Lazio could catch up, not going to lie, and I'm worried. I mean, we do have 2 games in hand. We only see the table right now that shows Lazio 3 points behind us is because we still need to play 2 games. If we win against Udinese and against Bologna, we'd be 9 points ahead of them. So I think you got to look at the table when everybody has equal games. Of course, Lazio's close to us because we have 2 games less than them. I really appreciate the passion you give to Roma. Thank you very much, Gabriele. Fredkins are changing. I don't know, but their approach is different. They're more visible. With these official statements, yes, but I think this official statement, a lot of the power behind this official statement came from Lina. I think Lina is the image which Mourinho got too late. I think Lina Saluku is the image and the person and the profile that Mourinho hoped to have during his session at Roma, but he got too late. Because when Lina was appointed CEO of Roma, Mourinho was in his last few months as a Roma manager. And of course, when somebody's new, you get influenced by the Fredkins. I think Lina Saluku has a lot of power inside this board. You see her everywhere. She watches the women games, she watches the men games, she gives awards to players on the pitch. She is, in my opinion, and I've said this coming out of the mouths of a lot of journalists, she's the reason this official statement came out. I think Lina has a lot of power, and I think Lina is the image that Mourinho always asked for, but never really did get, because she was appointed when Mourinho was coming to an end. Which 4 teams do you think get UCL? Well, which 5 teams do you think get UCL? Inter, Milan, Juventus. I'm really tempted not to give Juventus a spot, but mathematically it's almost impossible. Part of me sees Juventus crumbling down. Juventus are so crap. But they've just gotten so many points at the start of the season that not getting in the Champions League is virtually impossible. I'm going to put Roma in the top 5. I really do. I think we're playing so well. Again, you can't predict against us lately. So, I don't know. It's early to say that. After this week, I'm going to give you my 5 teams who go on the UCL, because this week decides everything to me. You're saying Bologna deserve respect, but then say them going to UCL is a waste of time. A waste of time or not, they earned their spot. Roma are doing great and likely will get to UCL as well. Well, there you go. You literally just answered that question yourself, mate. That's exactly what I think. I think that Bologna in the UCL will be a waste of time, and I also think Bologna deserve UCL spot. It's contradicting, but it's what I think. And I've said this before, so please don't make up what I said. I think Bologna deserve to get in the Champions League. In terms of what they're showing, it's earned. They've been great this season. I've got nothing against them. But I will also say that Bologna in the Champions League is a waste of time, because they'll get 4th in that group stage. Their team is going to get dismantled this summer. Thiago Motta is going to go to Juventus. Zirkzee, they won't sign him permanently. Calafiori is going to leave. Orsolini is going to leave. So I've got no problem saying that. I believe what you said, mate. Tammy will start, asked Nabo. I'm gonna answer all the questions in a bit. Lineup questions. I think Lukaku getting injured was inevitable. He was playing almost every game. I do agree. Tammy is still rusty. I think Tammy should start. He was pretty good against Milan. Do you think Roma should use Shomurodov next season after his good season with Cagliari? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm praying Cagliari trigger that buyback clause. I'm incredibly happy. I'm so happy that he's performing well because it increases the chances that they trigger the clause, especially if they save themselves. Absolutely not. That's exactly where we make mistakes in transfer windows. We see a player who scores many goals for a little team. We hype ourselves up, we buy him, and with us he's absolutely shit. No, don't get Shomurodov back. Don't get fooled by the fact that he scored 2 goals in the last 2 weeks. That doesn't eliminate the fact that, in my opinion, he's a bad player. All respect to El Dorado, I just don't want him back. I don't want Tammy starting. The game is too important, says Chris. Right, that's the lineup. We need a strong lineup because the only way you beat Bologna is this. Bologna don't have European tournament competitions. Bologna don't have much to play for apart for this dream of getting in the Champions League. So they will perform the best team. They will be rest up. They will be fresh. So we need our best team to counter them. And this is my lineup. Svilar in goal. Cilic, Mancho, Smalling and Angelino. Mancho did not train with the group today, but again, he usually does this and then he's always on the pitch because of his mentality. So that's my lineup. Angelino ahead of Spina in league games. Pellegrini, Cristante and Paredes. All 3 starting again. I think Cristante was suspended against Milan, so Cristante is going to start. Pellegrini is playing phenomenally lately. Paredes is playing phenomenally lately. And those 3, in my opinion, will have to start. In attack, Paolo, Elsha and Azmoun. It's the same lineup, apart from Lukaku who's not available. And I've put Azmoun. The reason I've put Azmoun is because of 2 reasons. Effectively, to answer this question, you're like, why didn't you put Tammy Abraham? And to answer this question of why I didn't put Tammy Abraham, there are 2 reasons why. Number 1, I think Tammy on Thursday played more minutes than what his fitness rehab schedule probably allows. So I think it was never planned that Tammy on Thursday should have played 1 hour, because let's not forget that he's back. He just got back from an ACL tear, and playing a lot of games is only going to put more pressure on that knee. So the rehab schedule, I can tell you as a matter of fact that it didn't allow Tammy to play more than 30 minutes. Tammy ended up playing 1 hour of football plus 7 minutes in the first half added on and 5 minutes in the second leg. Only the added time was like 15 minutes. So yeah, Tammy overplayed. And when players get these serious injuries, they shouldn't overplay, because it can be easier for them to get future injuries if they don't get back 100% ready. And number 2 is because, if you remember well, I remember it well because they showed Tammy on the maxi screen at the stadium. In the last 20 minutes of that Milan game, he was in pain touching his shoulder. That's not a serious injury, but to be honest with you, do I want to start a player in this game who was definitely overplayed and overexceeded expectations in terms of playing time and came out of that Milan game with an injured shoulder? No, I don't, because I want to win this game. So I think Azmoun is going to start this game. He's fresh. Again, will he be 100% fit? No, I don't think he will. He's fresh. We've seen him change games for the past months. So I see him. He's already played with Paolo and El Shaarawy together. So I see him actually playing a really good game on Monday. Also because Calafiori and Lucumi, the Bologna centre-backs, are very physical. And Azmoun is somebody who launches himself and uses that physique to fight. This would have been the perfect Lukaku game, but Lukaku's injured. So yeah. That's not, again, please, don't misunderstand what I just said. I didn't criticize Tammy. I actually think Tammy played some good 30 minutes, some good moments in that Milan game. If anybody expected goals from Tammy in that game, it was crazy. He was left alone with us playing with 8 defenders and in a defensive system. You know, Tammy got subbed into that game to kind of be a pivot in attack and try to distract Milan defenders, run around, do like that to football fans, to us fans. Tammy didn't. The tactic for Tammy in that game was not to score goals because we were playing 10 against 11. And what Tammy did, in my opinion, was very good. He ran everywhere. He hyped himself up. You know, he used that emotional level of things a lot. So yeah, Tammy played some good football. He did miss a sitter. That's a classic Tammy. But he played some really good moments in that game. So I think he will be exhausted. Also because he isn't ready to play a lot of games in such a little span of time. So I think Asmund is going to start this game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tammy will start. But if I'm a doctor and I see Tammy playing a lot of these games and the majority of these games, then I get worried because the rehab plan definitely doesn't consist of Tammy playing this much. I'd get Shomurodov because now we can see what he can do with a capable manager. I disagree, but I respect your opinion. I don't want Shomurodov. 5 minutes left and Empoli 1-0. Napoli says, yeah, that's a good result for us. What do you think about Chiesa coming to Roma? I'm going to go live on that tomorrow because I know I've received 10 DMs on Instagram going, Simo, Chiesa, what do you think of Chiesa? Can we have a Chiesa video? I'm going to film the Chiesa video tomorrow. De Rossi is supposed to speak at 10:30 tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the press conference tomorrow or I'm going to do some transfer news. I'll decide, but I do really want to do the Chiesa live stream because I can see it happen. That's the only thing I'll say, but I can see it happen. So yeah, Chiesa we're going to discuss tomorrow. Is Vigna on loan or did we sell him permanently? I believe we sold him permanently. Classic Tammy miss. Do you think Tammy will be your starting striker next season? That's a good question, Nabo. I think it's very hard to answer that question right now because, yeah, it's just so hard it's so hard to understand what we want to do with Lukaku and what we want to do with Tammy. And therefore, it's very hard to answer that question. Are there actual rumors saying that Chiesa will come? Yes, they are. And the rumor that launched the newspaper that launched this is Tutto Sport, which is based in Turin, and I think that's some big sources. Right. I mean, quickly looking at the league table, just because such an important Serie A league week this week that. Yeah, it would be a disappointment not to have a successful week because, as I said before, if we get 7 to 9 points in this week, I think we have one leg of the Champions League next season. Juventus 64, Bologna 59, Roma 55, Lazio 52, Atalanta 51, Napoli 49. I think Napoli's done. And I also think Lazio's done. I think we only see Lazio this close to us because we don't realize that we've got 2 games in hand. If we win those 2 games in hand, we're back 9 points ahead of them. I don't see Lazio. You know, I've got Lazio friends who say, well, we've got the easiest calendar. You never know. We might have a final push. Really an easier calendar. Because playing against relegation teams right now is not ideal. You're playing against Verona, it's not ideal. You're playing against Empoli, it's not ideal. And you still need to play against Sassuolo. All of these games are at home, but it's that stage of the season, and I've said this already, where little teams, you do not want to play against them because they are sneaky and they will play as if it's their last game in this league. Empoli is winning against Napoli right now. Frosinone drew against Napoli last week. Verona drew in Bergamo against Atalanta last week. So, yeah. Cagliari yesterday against Juventus. You do not want to play against these teams. I don't give Lazio a chance. I think they've bottled way too many chances this season. I think it's between us, Bologna and Juventus. We've got 2 games in hand. You never know. I think with the way we're playing, I don't want to jinx it. In fact, I'm going to say this just to avoid the jinxes. I'm going to say this after this week goes by. But yeah. I would love a Tammy Lukaku striker partnership next season, says Nabo. How much would Chiesa cost? I don't know, but I read that Juventus really want Goodmanson, and in order for Juventus to buy these players, they need money, and Chiesa could be their sacrificable one. Plus, Chiesa, Juventus, and Allegri are on the minimal terms. You know that I think Allegri and I know Allegri won't be their manager next season, but Chiesa and Allegri are not getting along this season at all. So maybe it can speed up a few things. Monza away is so hard for most teams, says Trenix. Indeed. Right. No need to think about the table. No need to think about points. Right now, all we need to do is shush the haters on the pitch and win games on the pitch. Bologna on Monday is going to be a very entertaining game and also a massive fundamental game. I cannot wait for it. I will be at the stadium once again, so stadium vlog will come. Tomorrow, Chiesa live stream, so don't miss that. And yeah, if you haven't already, do hit the like, subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer and closer to 12,000 subscribers, so if you can get your friends, families, wives, grandparents, girlfriends, brothers and sisters to subscribe, it would be absolutely amazing. And also subscribe yourself. 100 likes on this video would also be amazing if you're watching this live or not. Then remember that it takes 0 seconds and 0 money, and it supports me and all of us in this community a lot. So do all of that. Let me know your opinions in the comments below, and enjoy your weekend, y'all. I'm gonna talk to you soon. See you all out.